Hey, this is take 4. The camera froze, and then a number of different things. So this is, we'll see how this one goes. Welcome to all of you. The channel's title is INTP to INTP, but I think I've started to, or I've wished, in classic NE fashion at INTP, I want to just branch out and cover larger and larger swaths of reality in what I talk about. So I'm going to let that happen. For those who are not in the know, an INTP is one of the types in the MBTI system, and the classic way that I navigate the world and people of the same type is we think most importantly TI, which is just, is there a logical framework that I can use that explains everything that I see, right? That's TI. My own framework, not a reference framework, something that I've constructed myself. And then NE, which is, okay, given the logical framework I have, what are the possibilities that framework suggests? And so generally, how I live is I explain, and then I branch out and I consider what has not been explained, and hence, the books around me, as you can see, books. And I can feel myself, take 5. I said this last time too, but no one else knows except for me, of course. So this is the last book I read. Highly recommend this book. Spiritual, and simply quite useful because it talks about reality itself. And I've come to find that the better I understand reality, the better everything goes. 3 magic words. I recommend it. There is ever since the last video impacted me a lot. Maybe 2 videos ago I talked about transformation. I think I'm going to see, or I will let you know if this is true. However, I feel that one big teacher, or one person I'm teaching a lot through these videos, is myself. And I listened to my last video, and then it caused just a very deep reflection, introspection on what I actually believe. Not believe, what I actually think, what my conclusion is. And it's caused just a wide branching series of many different considerations, and I would love to share with you what I have started to build, or what I've been thinking about. And one tentative title that I told a friend, and we'll see how well it fits, is confidence does less. And as I don't have a more effective title right now, that's where we will start. So, okay, one where I see myself going here right now is, I've been reflecting on that whole idea of just aiming that I said in the last video. So let's see if I can show you that image. Just aiming. Just aiming is such a counterintuitive and very it's something that I think one can, and I've been thinking a lot about what this means. And just to bring this home real quick, we'll start a little bit more practical. Imagine I want 1 million subscribers on YouTube, right? The conditional way, if we look at this aiming thing, the condition, I could make that the aim, and then there is the unconditional way to look at that, which is no matter what happens, I already know what happens. Then in a counterintuitive way, it doesn't matter how this video does. It doesn't matter what I do in this video. It doesn't matter what I do ever. If I'm unconditionally aimed at 1 million subscribers, then all of those become conditions that I can ignore. Let's see. Yeah, conditions is the part that I'm talking about here. If my unconditional aim is 1 million subscribers, then how this video does, whether I even do it at all, and conditions like this don't relate. They are not part of that aim. And so we'll start there. However, I'm going to go even more meta, because I've thought further and I've realized, having 1 million subscribers is also a condition. And they people talk about like your 5 whys, like keep on asking why you want that, why you want that, why you want that. I actually don't want 1 million subscribers. That's something I realized. I don't want 1 million subscribers. I don't want money. I'll tell you what I realized I want, because these are all conditions I thought I needed in order to get the thing I actually wanted, which is I want to be able to pursue every fascinating topic and experiment I want to do at any time I want, and with zero need to consider time, zero need to consider like any condition that's in the way. I just want to be able to do that. I want to be able to read these books. I want to be able to explore and understand and expand my knowledge with zero limitations, and along the way help people around me. Like it's very much a like the philosophers of Greece, that kind of lifestyle. Like people they're patrons of me, and then I share wisdom. That's what I want. And what I realized is money and like subscribers, all that stuff, those are all actually conditions. Those are all actually these. And I didn't even realize that they were these. I thought they were these, but you might realize yourself. Like, if you ask yourself, why do you want money? Because there might be some people who are like, because it would be fun to get that money. Like, if they authentically think that, then I think it's a great metric, or not even metric. It's a great aim to have. Because you might say, oh, done. Like, because it's a fun game to play. Oh, wow. Well, then you found your like bottom line aim. But if you say something like, oh, so that I can relax, well, then perhaps you should aim at living a life that is worry-free, living a life that is relaxing, and time and space are of no concern. There are no conditions. Because what I realize people are doing when they aim at money is they are making a condition out of how to live their lives without realizing they are. No one, I assert, unless you have chosen the game of making money, like that's like, you ask someone like, oh, why do you play basketball? And they say, oh, because it's fun. Okay, then play basketball. Go ahead. And you say you ask someone, oh, why do you want to make $1 million? Oh, because it'll be fun to. Oh, okay, go ahead. But if someone says, I want to make $1 million so that, as I said, so that I can be calm, and I can just relax, and I can start a family or something. What you hear in that is they've put a condition in front of what they actually want to do. They want to be calm and relaxed, and they want to start a family. So I propose to someone who is thinking that way, move all that stuff to the condition. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter how much money I have. It doesn't matter how successful I am. What I want is I want to be calm and relaxed, and I want to start a family. That's what you actually are aiming at. And you may hear me say that, and you may get like butterflies. You may get like no, these fears jump up, right? And I've been reflecting on that too. And I've been reflecting on this idea of I've come to realize, I've come to discover that we really are the creators of our own reality. Whatever you believe is what you will create in the world. And so if you reflect upon that fear that comes up, I ask you to reflect on it, to look at it, and realize, at least this is for me, that the reason why you are afraid is because you believe a certain thing. For example, you believe, oh, I can't do it unless I have money. And first, I'm going to assert to you that is a belief. I mean, there are many people out there that live without any money. For example, a streamer on Twitch is doing all kinds of stuff without really thinking about the money. They're doing the stuff that they love to do, and people are supporting them with their money. And then when you talk about support, you can say, you can think about, like a live-in maid, or you move into someone's place, and they say, hey, we have an extra shed. Would you like to stay there? We have an extra room. Would you like to stay there? I mean, these are all things that someone who holds the belief that they need money to survive would be unable to create in their lives because their mind is not going to go there, right? So I'm going to move all of the concrete examples aside and just assert this idea that I'm going to say it like this. There are all kinds of things that you think you have to do today. But if you take a step back and you look at why you think you have to do that today, you might notice that there is a negative belief and a fear attached to the negative belief that are creating that action. Let me show you my notes here to say it, to talk about that again real quick, to really dive into that. Here's what I wrote down. Actions reflect beliefs. If you're taking action because of a negative belief, okay, this is the conclusion I came to. Don't take the action. Instead, examine the belief closely. So let me give you a personal example. I released the last video sometime last week, and I've been reflecting on this idea of actions taken out of fear or actions taken out of negative beliefs. And then also, okay, so let's put those two ideas together. The first idea is that I actually don't care how many subs I have. I don't care how much money I have. What I want is the freedom to be able to explore ideas and create understanding and help people through that. That is like the ideal life for me. Okay, number one. Number two, how long should I take until I release my next video? Well, it doesn't matter. If that's my lifestyle is I would like to learn and explore and help people, then it doesn't matter when I release the next video. It doesn't matter how this video does. It doesn't matter what I say right now. If my aim is all that matters, then there are infinite ways to get there. Especially if I remove the condition of money, if I remove the condition of subs, then it doesn't matter how I get there. And to create that reality in my own self. When I am lying down in my bed and I'm thinking, when should I post that video? Or I should probably post that video today. you can take the step, you can trace the step back into the belief that you're using to create that. Okay. The fear that is of that is, oh, if I don't release enough videos, then people won't watch my stuff, and if people won't watch my stuff, then I won't be able to have 1 million subs, right? But if you can hear that the original belief is one that I have, and it's faulty. Here's the other way you can see it. Like, oh, it doesn't matter how many times I release. No matter how many times I release, I know that I have 1 million subs, right? But then take a step back. Okay, go meta once again, right? It doesn't matter. Like, no matter whenever I release this video, I know that my lifestyle is that I can learn and explore to my heart's content, and I will not feel limited in any way in my life. That's my aim. Then it doesn't matter when I release a video. So I was laying in bed and reflecting on that, and I was reflecting on this conclusion I'm giving to you, which is, if you're taking an action because of a negative belief, don't take the action. Instead, examine the belief closely. And so I laid in bed and I reflected on how that action doesn't matter at all. Or the action doesn't matter, and then the belief that I was using to create the action also isn't true. I've seen it already. I've seen my lifestyle. I am free to learn and explore as far as I'd like. So whether I create the video on a day or not, doesn't matter. I'd like to share with you a few analogies I came up with for this idea. And this links back to confidence. Confidence is like having the end of the sports game you bet $1,000 on spoiled for you. So imagine you bet on this sports game, maybe the Super Bowl, and you said, this team is going to win by 10 points. And then you bet, let's say you bet $10,000 on that. If you watch the game and they go down by like 20 points and you don't know how it ends, then you would be terrified and scared. And maybe you might say, like, you might even want to say, like, hey, you know that bet I made? Can we take it back? You know, that kind of stuff. In other words, like, you can hear the analogy. You want to look away from your aim. But imagine you happen to look on the newspaper. There was a recorded game. You happen to look on the newspaper, and you know that your team wins by 20 points. Then now, even if you're watching the game, and they're down by 20, you feel no emotions at all. You feel no fear at all. You remain connected to your aim. And you know that you're going to make $10,000. Here's the other example. Let me set up the clip and I'll just show you. I really like referencing the Matrix. So let's see if I can do this real quick. So, spoilers. At the end of the Matrix, Neo is shot. And he is shot many times. And presumed dead. Right? Flatline. People can't believe it. But there's one person who is completely undeterred. And the reason why is because she talked to the oracle. And the oracle told her, Neo, you can't be dead, because the oracle told me that I would be in love with the one, and I'm in love with you, Neo. She admits that, and 3, 2, 1 maybe? Yeah. He comes back. even when it seemed to be it seemed to be that the conditions would absolutely not allow the outcome that everyone was aiming at. Trinity had already been told the end, and so the end still happened. Trinity just aimed. Trinity was told by the oracle, you're gonna love the one. And so even if Neo was dead, it didn't matter, because Neo was the one. I've seen the end of the movie already. That was the other analogy I was reflecting on. Imagine you accidentally saw the end of a movie, and at the end of the movie, the guy gets the girl, right? Now you're watching it with your friends, and in the middle of the movie, the guy and the girl get in a fight and they break up, and like someone who hadn't known the end of the movie would say, like, okay, it's over. Like, how can they come back from that? But you have seen the end of the movie already. Your aim is true. You see that that's just a condition. That's just one of the conditions. And so you say, wow, how are they going to come back from that? That's very interesting. So, but you can hear in that way of saying it that the aim remains true. You've seen the end. You've seen the aim, and so you remain connected to the aim. So that's one practical thing that I can share with you right now, which is that when you feel compelled to do an action, you can do an internal audit. You can ask yourself, am I taking action out of fear? What is the fear? What is the belief tied to the fear? And then I'm going to suggest to you that every negative belief is false. And that must be true. If you believe that just aiming is enough, then every negative belief you have is false, because every negative belief you have is looking elsewhere than your aim. So if I say, oh, I need to release a video or else I can't get 1 million subs, and then if I can't get 1 million subs, then I can't have my ideal lifestyle of learning and exploring without worrying about like how I'm going to support myself, right? Can you see all the conditions? Can you see all the conditions? So, it must be false because I've already seen the end. I've already seen the end of the movie. That's where I end up. So, all that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when I release my video. I'll release my video when it would be cool to release my video, when it'd be fun to release my video, not because I have to or else. Can you hear the conditionalness of the statement is a trap, because that's something I realized this last week is, wow, I have a lot of little hooks. I have a lot of little fear hooks in me that's compelling me to take action. That's something to reflect upon and release, because each of them create a condition that make it so that it's possible for me to believe that what I have already seen will come to pass will not come to pass. That's what all those are. They are all alternative aims. Every fear you have, every belief you have is an alternative aim. Your aim can be unconditional. It already happened. It's just like having seen the end of the movie. If you've seen the end of the movie, it's unconditional. It already happened. Like no matter what happens in the middle of the movie, the end of the movie is going to happen. That's how you can think of it. This means I've realized that a lot of things that people think matters are all conditions. Consistency. Okay. I'll say this and then I'll share with you an awesome analogy. Consistency is an alternative aim. You have lost track of what you're actually trying to get. It's like it's an external measurement that's easier for you to track, and then now you can say, now I'm allowed to believe that my result is going to happen And you can get so lost that this is all you track, and then well, that's interesting that okay. And then you just believe in consistency instead of believing in your result that you thought about. Results. Any results in the middle of like how this video doesn't matter, right? You work out. You play a basketball game today and you lose, and then you can say, "Oh, I'm never gonna be a great basketball player." That's what. All that happened was you lost that game. That's all that happened. You can continue to aim where you want to aim. Mistakes, successes. See, successes and mistakes, they're two sides of the same coin. Or successes and losses, perhaps. Time constraints, like, okay, it didn't happen in 1 year, that means it's not going to happen. No, see, you've created another condition. Number of attempts, you did it 100 times, and it's not going to. Oh, I've seen the end of the movie. I've seen the end of the movie. You actually get it right on the 104th time. So the number of attempts don't matter either. None of it does. None of it matters. You already saw the outcome. And this is, I mean, this is the perspective of living from the end. I'll say from the end. Aiming. Aiming is just the whole just aim thing I talked about is another way of saying living from the end, which is a Neville Goddard concept. Now, there's something I want to talk about here too, which is you may I think this is a sign of how messed up our brains have become, how messed up our belief systems have become in reality, that we think that if we remove these negative beliefs, it's not going to happen anymore. But let me speak a little practically here, just to maybe you can see it that way. It's actually what's actually happening is this: your negative beliefs are making it possible for you to believe that you can fail. These are actually beliefs in the opposite direction. It's beliefs and aims away from your target. These are all ways that you can convince yourself that it's not going to happen, or convince yourself that it is going to happen. But if you remove them all and you can simply believe that it's going to happen, then it's going to happen. There was someone on YouTube I was talking with, and I said action results naturally from your beliefs. Action results naturally. When I ate my lunch today, I didn't have to convince myself that I could eat it. It just happened because I completely believed it can happen. That's what happens if you are full of beliefs that are targeted towards your aim. If it is already done, then of course you're going to take the action. These other things, these are little snacks that you want to use to like convince yourself more, but they are actually negative beliefs. They are things these are conditions that you have put in between you and your aim, and they are actually what can cause you to lose faith and doubt. And that's why I was saying that confidence does less. Because if you have already seen the end, then there's all kinds of stuff that you will just stop doing. Like I've already seen that I'm going to win the race. Oh, okay. Well, I won't be so frantic and insistent on like doing all kinds of practice to win it. I will end up doing exactly the right practices that allow me to do it. Because again, when you believe that, it's not like you'll stop acting, you will just stop doing the doubtful acting. And perhaps you've seen many people like this, where you see where their actions are coming from, and you can see that they don't believe it's possible, and they're just trying to convince themselves it's possible. They're acting from a non-believing, frantic place. Not good. I thought about one story that this reminds me a lot of, which is a biblical story, the golden calf. So let me summarize the whole story and then talk about the golden calf in general. I was talking with my mom and I realized that the Moses story of Exodus is actually an allegory for the spiritual journey, the journey of realizing who you actually are. Who you actually are is spiritual. Who you actually are is based upon your beliefs. Your beliefs and the results that you create from your beliefs are completely self-contained. Every belief that you have fully accepted is what you create. That's what you discover. But the story of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. Egypt is slavery. You can think of the Egypt slave life as the flesh life, where you believe in the external environment around you, and you need to toil to survive, right? Moses meets the burning bush, and the burning bush says that I am. So what you discover is that the voice within you, your soul, the thing that believes, or the thing that holds, the thing that aims, the thing that says, the thing that speaks, you discover that. And the story of Moses is learning to follow that. What Jesus calls the Holy Spirit, the I am within. Moses leads the Israelites through the desert for 40 years. Every person that comes with him, every person that left Egypt, they all died. In other words, your flesh self has to die so that the spirit you can be born. And then the story of the golden calf. This is the part that that is really related to what I'm talking about today. Moses goes up to the hill to get the 10 Commandments. And the Israelites that just wanted some kind of reaffirming, they wanted some evidence that they are doing the right thing and they're going the right way. So they pour and cast a golden calf. You know, they look around and they can't see any reason why. Oh yeah, by the way, Moses is leading them to the promised land. He's seen it. He was told. He's seen it in the vision. In other words, he's aiming. But the Israelites don't see they can't see the promised land, and they don't trust it. So what they do instead is they pour and cast a golden calf. Oh, now I can see this physical golden calf. And I can worship that, and now I know this is consistency, this is results, this is success, this is failures. This is like the trophy. Like now they can see, now I know that I'm going the right way. But see, they end up not going the right way because instead they worship consistency instead. But this is the common thing that happens in life. We can't believe that what we're aiming at is real. And so we come up with some kind of idol, that's what they talk about, the idol, and we put our faith in that instead. And actually, from what I'm talking about here, actions can also be idolatry. Actions, money, time, results. These can all be idols as well because they create conditions that allow you to lose faith in your aim. So, the other example in the Bible is Jesus. A rich man comes to talk with Jesus, and Jesus said, "Oh, if you want to follow me, if you want, in other words, if you want to live life like I do, then sell all of your belongings, wealthy man, and follow me, and live life with pure aim." The wealthy man can't do it because the wealthy man has never known how to do life that way, which is just purely aim. He has come to believe that the physical wealth he has is why he's able to live the life he has. And thus, he can never dispose of the money because he views the money as the condition for his aims. And thus Jesus says, it's harder for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to go into heaven. In other words, for someone to be able to completely release the flesh life and aim the spiritual way, it's difficult if they are given something that that seems to so obviously support what they're doing. Like this is also what happens to like child actors who suddenly get famous. They get no chance to trust in their own vision and be able to go somewhere. They instead idolize their own fame, and when the fame goes away, they start to think, okay, I'm lost. Things are over, and that's not true. Life is actually showing that person, oh, this is your chance to discover that you can just aim. And I was also reflecting on how it can be an immense blessing to lose everything, because if you lose everything, then you can discover, as the Israelites did in the desert, you can discover, oh, I actually don't need any of that to accomplish what I want to accomplish, or I don't need any of that to aim where I want to aim. If I simply aim, then I know I will get it. And so what you see in a lot of people's journeys, towards success, is they lose everything, and they still aim. And they discover that the aim was all they needed all along. But they just needed to have all of the idols crushed so that they can do it. Let me look at my notes, see what else I want to talk about. Classic other example. I might be like other guys and dating. You can think of like two different scenarios with the same like woman that I like, a beautiful woman I like to meet, right? Imagine this. Imagine that oh, by the way, so like one way that people learn how to do this, like seeing the end already, you can do that through visualization. You can and feel it, and then you can say, "I've seen it and I felt it. Now I know it's true." And everything that happens in between, it's just details, like the movie. Here's another analogy. Imagine you go 5 years in the future and you find out that you are married, and you're married to this beautiful, incredible woman. And you watch as you get along with that woman. You're watching from the distance, and you're like, wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. 5 years, huh? Okay, I think five years. I'm getting married in 5 years. Interesting. And then you come back to the present, and today just happens to be the day you meet your wife for the first time. You can imagine the completely different attitude you would have meeting her. Like, oh, interesting. You. I've seen you. I've seen how things turn out. This is fun. I'm James. As opposed to having no vision and just meeting her and being like, oh, I don't know who you, like, it's very different. And so, hence the importance. The importance and the fundamental idea of aiming. And you perhaps have seen that when guys have put their trust in the actions that they take, and like they commit adultery, they commit idolatry, and they trust in the action that they take and the words that they say, and the image that they project, and you can see them just frantically like trying to put up this facade so that the woman can be impressed and convinced. But you can see through that. You can see it. You can see that all of this is reflecting the attempt to ignore this alternative aim that they have, which is like some belief like, I'm not enough, essentially. Like, I have to do all these things or else she won't like me. But if you instead go back to the aim of, I've seen this woman. I've seen this woman. She's my wife in 2 years. You can imagine that the amount of action that person will take will at least be a very different quality. It will be the action of someone that already knows, as opposed to the action of someone who is treading water, who feels like they're drowning. I've collected many examples, so I'll show you a few of them. Here's a story of the old bull and the young bull. Confidence does less. The old story that applies here is about the old bull and the young bull, shaded up and out of the flies on a hill. A bunch of heifers, female cows, graze into the meadow below, and the young bull says, "Let's run down and breed a couple heifers." The old bull gets up, stretches, and says, "Let's walk down and breed them all." And this talks about how, like, oh, that's interesting that you have such a you're in such a hurry. Like, don't you know that those heifers are ours? You act as if like they're not yours, and you're like trying to steal them. That's kind of what it means when you're in a hurry. If you're in a hurry, then you believe that it's not yours and you need to steal it, essentially. Let me take a moment and see what other things I'd like to talk about here. Okay. There's some things I can still talk about. If you ever watch Kung Fu Panda, and I don't think I'll go there directly in this video, but my favorite character in Kung Fu Panda is Oogway, the turtle. And Oogway exemplifies this. He acts, but he only acts exactly when he needs to act. At all other times, he simply is. As opposed to Sifu, the badger or something. He's always afraid. He's always afraid things will go wrong, and he acts from that place. And thus, that is what he creates. As Oogway says in the movie, one often meets his destiny on his quest to avoid it. Let's look at these notes together and see what I would like to dive into. Yeah, to reiterate, the choice and decision doesn't matter, because the question to actually ask is, why are you acting? If you're acting out of fear, you will run from it your whole life. That's the other thing that I want to talk about here. If you act out of fear right now, what you are doing is you are reinforcing that fear, and you are reinforcing that negative belief, and thus you will always have that negative belief, and it remains real in your life. What you may discover, and this is something that I'm in the process of doing, is if I lay and do nothing, I can observe all the things that my brain is telling me I should do right now. Those are all of your negative beliefs. Those are all the conditions that you have tied to calamity and disaster in your life. If you can systematically remove and make meaningless all of them, you will discover that 99% of stuff you thought you had to do, you don't have to do. Which reminds me of this quote that I prepared here. There's two. Circumstances don't matter. Only state of being matters. That's one concise way to say what I just said. Another one is, you cannot overestimate the unimportance of practically everything. John Maxwell. Yeah. Well, however this video goes, doesn't matter, right? So we'll see We'll see how far I want to go here. What I realized as I reflected on this is procrastination is a negative belief, and acting to break it only reinforces it. Oh, I shouldn't procrastinate. I'm going to act. Well, now you've just created the idea that you can procrastinate, and you will be dealing with procrastination your whole life. What if we created the opposite belief? You will act when you want to act, and every action you take is exactly as much action as you should take. And any other action is an action you don't have to take. You're free. Time management is based on a negative belief. The belief is that you can run out of time. Here's a new belief. You have plenty of time, and you have exactly as much time as you need. And if you don't end up not doing something, well, you didn't have to do it. And thus you will create that world. When you only focus on your positive beliefs, you don't do nothing, you do the exact right things. And 99% of everything else, you stop. And to reiterate, 99% of what you do, you likely do out of fear. Quit that. Because all you do is create your fears. To go matter one level, acting out of fear also won't affect your aim. The only thing to hold is your aim. So you might turn this quitting it into a belief of like, I got scared again. I acted out of fear again. That means that I won't accomplish what I'm aiming at. No. If you got scared and you acted out of fear, that also doesn't mean anything. You still know that the end of the movie is the end of the movie. Don't worry. It's a very interesting thing to think about life in this way. If you did nothing today, good. That means that's exactly what you needed to do to reach your aim. If you did a lot today, also good. You did exactly what you need to reach your aim. All action out of fear is the wrong action. As I said, they confirm and create the fear. How many battles are you fighting? Continue to fight them, and they continue to exist because they're based on beliefs in your mind. And you create them so that you can win them, or you create them so you can fight them. If you do all of this, if you do this process, if you reflect upon the beliefs in your mind and the fears you are acting from, then life gets incredibly quiet after you release them all. The vision, the image I had was someone can thrash in the water and keep up. Someone can tread, which is still like a belief that you can sink. Or they can float, absolutely zero effort, and they stay up. Everything you do to prop up your beliefs and prevent yourself from doubting is thrashing. Stop. So instead of believing your negative beliefs and then fighting your negative beliefs and keeping them around, release your negative beliefs. I'll cover all of these. Here's another analogy that I can give you. You planted a plant and you watered it. What else can you do? Well, if you are a nervous person, there's infinite things you could do. Nothing that will actually grow the plant. You could think like, oh, when it grows into a tree, I want to cut it down, so I'm going to prepare the chainsaw now, and you can take that action. You can do a rain dance to bring the rain. You can also pull on the plant and believe that pulling the plant will grow it. None of these do anything, but they do quiet your anxiety. So the thing to address and reflect on is the anxiety, not the plant. The plant is growing just fine. All of that extra action you're doing, it's doing nothing. It's just soothing you. Thermostat and fire. Thermostat and fire. Belief and action. This is the last analogy I'll give, and then I think I'll wrap up. The other analogy I can think of is thermostat. Let's say you set the thermostat. Okay, it's winter right now, so let's say that we set the thermostat at a nice and toasty 80 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that in Celsius? You set it to 27 degrees Celsius, right? No, let's say that we set it really low. Let's say we set it to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. So you're really cold. And your solution is to light matches. And you light matches and you hold them in your hand and you warm up your hands. But the thermostat is still set at 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It's still set low, so it's still set cold. So your hands get cold again, and so you light another fire. You light another fire. Lighting the fire is taking action. Belief, changing your beliefs, is updating the thermostat, raising the thermostat's heat. So if you can release all your negative beliefs, then now you set your thermostat to exactly the temperature you wanted. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius. And then you never have to light a fire again. Stop thrashing. Confidence does less. Confidence does less is one potential title for this. Stop thrashing. But I was weaving together many different ideas there. And I know the person that really benefits from this the most is myself, because now that I understand that I can just simply hold to my aim. I can accept the promise of the promised land. And however this video turns out, whatever I do, I do that. What's weird is the more anxious and fearful someone is, the more they assume that every little action influences the results. If me doing this, I want to know how many people said, "Oh, I'm unsubscribing because of that." Because people in general, I think, are just so doubtful that they will get what they see, and thus they create just this painful world of perfectionism. I don't edit these videos. And it feels really good. It feels really good, and I like the way they turn out. That's as far as I'll say it. However, you can do all kinds of things to your videos before you post them. And none of them matter. The aim matters. However, someone might get a lot of results somehow, and then you may end up worshiping that golden calf that they have. You look at the result they have and you say, I need to worship that idol in order to get the result that I'm aiming for. You don't have to. Just aim. Yeah, I find this story. I honestly think that most people have really misunderstood and misinterpreted the Bible. This is like the world's first self-help book. Well, maybe not the first, but this is just an excellent story talking about the transformation of a person into a spiritual being, remembering that, quote unquote, that you are made in the image of God. You are made in the image of God. In other words, you are a creative being. You are of the universe, and what you believe and what you see is what you create. Do not think anything otherwise, because everything you think otherwise, you create as well. I think it's a beautiful thing. That's my tagline. But I enjoyed covering that. I'm going to look through my other examples to see if it calls to me to share them with you. But you know what? That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. So we will leave it at that. This video didn't matter. However you interact with me doesn't matter. I already know what I'm going. Yeah, that's the other like very freeing thing to realize is even doing YouTube doesn't matter. Even doing YouTube doesn't matter. What I do today or don't do today doesn't matter. I've seen the end. Isn't that freeing? With that, I hope you have an excellent day. And I've really enjoyed this. I've enjoyed these. I've enjoyed living my dream life of just learning and exploring and understanding. And then I've seen that it's been helpful for people. So I'm really thankful for that. I'm glad. So enjoy your day. And let's keep doing well. Talk to you next time.